Hi guys, welcome back to the Rad Hyrox podcast. I'm joined today by a guy called Andy Watt, but you might know him a bit better from running around a Hyrox race in a full firefighter uniform. That's where we first saw him. He's a Hyrox athlete, he's a coach, he's in the RAF as a firefighter, and he's come to join us today to talk all things Hyrox. How you doing, Andy?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks for making this work because I know you've just been telling me you just got off a night shift, and it's pretty early in the morning, so I appreciate your time.
No, it's fine. Like I say, it's a sleeping night shift, so it's not too bad.
Not yeah, fair. At least
Yeah,
yeah, you got some snoozing in.
yeah.
To kick us off then, let's go like right back to you're obviously in the Air Force, so you must have been into like physical activity and you've joined up as a firefighter, so you must have been physically fit before. How were things like when you were a kid at school, and how did you get into the Air Force? You take us right
Uh,
back.
yeah, so at school, I got fit through playing rugby, essentially. My rugby coach was a big advocate of fitness within the game.
Okay.
And this was from like 14 up to 16 and then up to Colts level. And it's quite funny. So he was a guy, he was quite famous around the rugby club called Campbell, Curry Rugby Club. This is in Edinburgh. Big Cam he was called because he was about 6'6", 6'7", and he was about 6 foot around his waist as well. So like he
Oh,
wasn't
really?
a fit guy. He wasn't a fit guy in any sense of the word, but he was a big advocate of it. So that's where my kind of base fitness came from. And from then, I actually joined the army when I was 16. So it just continued within that.
Okay.
Left the army in like 2009. So yeah, I went from like 2003 up until 2009. Then that's when I decided to do my coaching badge and became a PT. So it's always kind of
Oh,
just
cool.
flown, like flowed, should I say? There's never really been like any big gaps between my fitness, although my fitness has peaked up and down like everyone's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always kind of had that interest. So when I decided to go back to the forces and I wanted to be a firefighter, it was no problem. And yeah, and it's being fit for firefighting is actually really enjoyable. So it's actually quite similar to Hyrox, but it's really enjoyable because it's just dragging things around and being quite aggressive. And yeah, that's where my fitness kind of came from, really, from a young age.
Yeah, that's cool. It's quite like a different way to get into fit. I mean, I know like the rugby side is like obviously a lot of guys would have played that at school, but I guess going into the army and then probably doing like a lot of like boot runs and
Yeah, that was quite
like
obviously, but
loaded
like
marches.
2003. Yeah, 2003 is like it was just on the cusp of when army training was still quite brutal.
Okay.
Like there's loads of stuff that happened within my phase one training that's just
Yeah.
mental if you think about it today. So yeah, it was quite good mindset training within that as well. Uh, and yeah, it was like you say, lots of weighted marches, lots of fast running. And because we were quite young as well, we were all 16 at this bit phase one training. You're made of rubber and glue, ain't you? So
Yeah. It's
you
it's
just,
crazy what like your body can go through, isn't it? Imagine trying
oh
to do it
yeah,
now.
I mean, yeah, it'd be
I do,
brutal. Yeah,
I do one session, I've got to go for a massage or I'll see a chiropractor.
exactly. Oh no.
So how come you decided to leave the army and become a PT? Was it because you were really into the phys side of things, or what spurred that
Um,
on?
so yeah, when I left the army, that's actually when I sort of got into weight training instead of just running
Okay.
all the time. And so like more indoor gym environment training. And to be honest, when I left the army and I left the forces, I was kind of jumping around loads of different jobs. I never really found
Mm,
my place in the world, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Um, so I was just kind of trying everything, and PT was being one of them. And it's actually like I was never a really a successful PT back then. It wasn't until actually I rejoined the forces I kind of jumped back into coaching. But yeah, it was just that enjoyment of the gym that made me go and do it.
Yeah, for sure. And then it's nice when you feel like when you enjoy something, you're passionate about something. If you get to work in the area that you're passionate about, it makes such a
Yeah,
difference, doesn't it?
it's not even work.
Yeah, for sure. And then so obviously then you decided like the firefighting was the thing you want to do. So what did you have to do to
Yeah,
like join as a firefighter? What kind of like physical tests and things did you have to do to get into
yeah.
that? Was
So
that?
it was, you had to do your kind of standard fitness test to join the RAF, which is fairly easy. Anyone that's probably completed the Hyrox could do it. But then we have what's called your specialist interview is what they call it, but it's just essentially was a fitness test. Very similar to what the civilian fire service does. But we were running, when I joined, it was much more old school test. So it was a hose running test, where you had 10 minutes, you had to bowl out a hose and then roll it up as many times as you could in 10 minutes. But you were given no training on how to do this. You were just given a hose and told, off you go.
And they're pretty heavy, I guess, these hoses are like.
Yeah, they're heavy. And there's a lot of technique to it. I was quite savvy, and I went to a civvy fire station to learn how to do the hose running first. So we did okay in that. But yeah, that's one of the tests. Another one's like your a 1.5 mile run, but so very similar to the army fitness test. I think how many others there was. A casualty drag, and then the rest of them are all just kind of making sure you can go up the ladder and you're okay with heights, which I'm actually not. But
oh really?
No, I don't like heights. No, I hate heights.
So you're not the one that goes on the end of one of the ladders?
No, we don't have any buckets, but
okay.
We were literally watching the news the other day, and they were up like 60-meter buckets, and I was like, yeah, I'm not keen
for that. Not
for me. Just put me on the ground. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. They'd actually do more tests now, which are doing equipment carry now and like a casualty drag, which is more functional, I think, to the job than hose running. Because once you bowl out a hose, you're not going to roll it up again.
Yeah.
And then roll it again, and then roll it up again in 10 minutes. That's a nonsense test. Yeah.
Well, fair. I mean, that's probably one of the ones when, at least if you're doing like the burpee broad jumps in a Hyrox, it's one of those where, you've like rolled up and in and out a hose for like 10 minutes. You're like, it's not too bad. At least I'm moving somewhere in one direction and getting to something. Okay, cool. So then where did you transition then from like rugby, general PT in the gym, and then across into Hyrox? How did you find Hyrox? How did that journey work?
Yeah, so it kind of started when I started Alpha 13 Fitness, for like that brand of coaching. Being in fire service, you've got lots of free time because you work like half the time you're off. So I wanted to fill that time with something useful. So I restarted my coaching business, just doing the odd one-to-one, and then became quite pally with different PTs around Edinburgh, and I started doing some functional fitness comps, so Scottish Fitness Championships run by GBA, origin-based athlete in Edinburgh, which was pretty horrendous, to be honest. And then meeting more coaches there, just getting kind of following people on Instagram, and then I seen a guy called Mikey Trinett. You probably know if I've heard of him. I seen he'd done a Hyrox, and I was like, oh, this looks quite good. And obviously the professional photos that you buy, all that he posted, and I thought, this looks pretty good. So got speaking to him about it, and seen the next one was in Manchester. What year was that? 2022.
Okay.
So yeah, that was my first one.
Oh,
went
cool.
down, done it. Yeah, it was good.
And did you just go down? Did you do what did you do? Did you like men's open, pro?
Just
doubles?
went into open. Yeah, went into open. Not really any idea of what I was kind of getting myself in for. I had a coach at the time, a guy called Dean McVie, who's under 80s, under 90 strongman. I was just wanting to increase my strength at the time, and he kind of trained me for it as if it was like a strongman comp.
Okay. Did you have much running?
Not really. Like this is honest truth. He had me doing I think it was 150 kilos total frame carry for training for the farmers.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was madness.
So did you pick those kettlebells up and you were like,
oh, it was not, I got second.
They're like a handbag.
I got the second best time on farmers on that one on my very first Hyrox. I've never beaten that time since, but that's all because Dean was making me train with 10 times a week. Madman. So yeah, not really any idea of what Hyrox was, or the little intricacies or details that you kind of find when you first do your first one. So for instance, training in a JD gym with just 100 kilos on the sled and sprinting with it and doing 50 meters within 40 seconds and back on the treadmill. Obviously, that's not how it works on the race day.
Yeah, it's so different, isn't
yeah, it's absolutely brutal. So that kind of spat me out, chewed me up, spat me out. Was an eye opener at best. But yeah, just really enjoyed the atmosphere of it. We were there all day because Mickey had a lot of clients down with him, so we were in from like 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. And as someone that's kind of likes that sort of kind of dance music environment, it was almost like fitness and clubbing all at once. I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, for sure. Like the atmosphere, I think because because they're in like arenas or they're in like exhibition centers, it does just create that atmosphere, doesn't it, that you can't really get anywhere else.
Yeah, it's total sensory overload. Yeah.
Yeah. And then did you feel what time of day was your race? Was it like an early one, or were you there all day and kind of burnt out and then went and raced? Do you remember?
No, it was fairly early. I think I was like 10, 11 o'clock, so it wasn't too bad. That was back when Manchester was only like a 1 day event though. Like,
yeah, it's crazy thinking that now though, isn't it?
Yeah. Like it wasn't even that busy. Compared to like Manchester that had just gone there. What was that, like 2 or 3 days, and like could barely get in the place. So
yeah, for sure. Okay, so then that's your first one. So how did we go from that to like, did you do any before you decided to do it in full firefighter rig, or was the next one like you just wanted to take it up a level?
Yeah, no, I've done 7 in total now, and lots of different things I've kind of done. So went to Birmingham after Manchester, just expecting a PB, but completely mistimed my runs, and I went too slow at the start, and it just completely.
Oh, okay.
It was a mess of a race. Then went to Glasgow and PB'd there. That's still my PB at that point. Then I went on an out area to the Falklands, and I was with James Kelly as a coach at this point.
Oh yeah, okay.
And he was like lots of running stuff, but if you've ever been to the Falklands, you know it's just windy. Like,
windy,
windy, honking, or you're just staring at a brick wall. So my running training was
hard,
less than optimal.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. Especially when he's telling you go for a zone 2 run. I'm like, oh, James, you don't understand. A zone 2 run here is like 8 kilometers an hour, mate, into the wind. It's not. It's
on a dodgy road as well. Like the roads aren't like nice, like,
no, I was like,
with the big
Australia,
drops
mate.
at the side.
So yeah, I had Dublin lined up after the Falklands, and I just knew I was in no great shape for it.
Okay.
So I just decided to do that one with a 20-kilo bag just for funds.
Okay, so that's the first, because I saw that, and that's like kind of like in America they do like the Go Ruck ones, don't they?
The Ruck one, which I think looks great.
Yeah, it sounds like right up your street. So you did 20-kilo bag. What was that like? Did you have a proper bag, or did you just get a rucksack that you?
I used a Built for Athletes bag.
Okay.
Which, to be fair, wasn't the best. Right? I know Built for Athletes will hate me saying this. I'll never ever get sponsored by them.
They probably didn't expect you to use it in a Hyrox, did they? I think
they
expect you to rock up to a Hyrox with your kit in. But
it wasn't the best. Constantly having to adjust it. But the weight wise, it wasn't too bad in the runs. The worst bit was the roller. Was
really?
Easily because you're leaning back, but my hip flexors had to hold my body weight and that 20-kilo weight,
and it's kind of pulling you back.
In that like isometric situation. By the time I got off, I could barely move my hips. So,
What about the burpees? Did it not come and like smack you on the back of the head every time you did a burpee?
Nah, it wasn't too bad. I just made sure it was super tight before I went, and it was really slow, really slow. And then the wall balls were pretty horrendous. But that was hard. And then what did I do after that? Went to Manchester, got ill. Literally had like COVID just before it, and then I just jumped out of the sleds because I just felt dizzy essentially.
Yeah, your body's just burnt.
A bit faint, so I was like, nah, I'll end that there. And I actually ended up with sickness the next day as well, so I definitely wasn't right.
And that's probably like a good point to like loads of people, as in like sometimes it's just not worth pushing through, is it? It's just
no, it really isn't. Especially when you're especially when there's other people around you racing as well. Like you're actually a potential risk to them. So I was just kind of bailed out of that. Then so what happened was we lost my mother-in-law to cancer. So I wanted to do some form of raising money for thank you. For a charity called Maggie's. it kind of helped people through the process of
Yeah.
having cancer all the way up to, grieving, essentially.
Yeah.
And they were really, really good with my father-in-law. So, I wanted to raise some money for that. I was also in recruitment at the time, so I wanted to raise some awareness of that fire service.
Oh, cool.
So it kind of all kind of meshed in well together. So
Yeah.
decided to. When I seen Zach, and I can't remember the other lad's name, do it in fire kit and doubles in Glasgow, and the first Glasgow, I was like, I was going to do that.
Damn, you beat me to it.
Yeah, and I
Who
was
knew
like,
there was so many people that wanted to make a Hyrox harder?
I know. So then I was like, right, they've done doubles. I was like, no one's done open yet,
Yeah.
so I'll do that. And then I was like, right, that's still quite easy. So I thought we'll put the BA set on as well, which was probably the worst thing I could have done, and it was easily the worst thing I've done to date. Just the heat.
Because so the set is like breathing apparatus, so it's
breathing
breathing
apparatus.
So for anyone that doesn't understand it, talk us through what you were actually wearing. How much does it weigh? What does it do?
I had my PPE on minus my boots. So your full firefighting uniform that you'd see, including the helmet. Didn't run the steel toe cap boots because I thought that's just going to be
oh god,
an injury for us months.
Yeah.
So just trainers on that. That would probably weighs around 5 kilos on its own.
And then I'm guessing it's really thick because it's protective to
really
stop fire.
thick.
So does it keep
the heat in? It's kind of designed. This does keep the heat in, keeps the heat out, but it's designed to take you up to a certain temperature and then kind of not go past that. But it's not a temperature you should really be exerting yourself in any longer than 30 minutes. So I did it with the BA set as well. So it's essentially a backpack with an air cylinder on the back of it, and then
wow.
a mask. I wasn't under air because it only lasts about 30 minutes or 25 minutes for me because I suck air. And just the logistics of constantly having to change the cylinder just wouldn't work.
Yeah, fair.
So we decided to put the mask on but not connect what we call the LDV, which is the hose that takes the air to the mask. So it's just this little kind of hole I was breathing through, and so I managed to wear that all the way up to the sled push, and it was just got pretty unbearable because the air in the mask gets really hot, and then it was also steaming up as well because you've not got that fresh supply of air coming through. It just steams up. So it became a bit of a nightmare. So I took that off. Luckily, I had a mate with me who was a firefighter, so I just packed in the mask. I was like, take that.
Yeah.
Kept the rest on until we got to the row. I took my helmet off and the BA set off for the row because I'd learnt from Dublin that all that weight on your back is it's an unfinisher. And I was conscious of making it easier, but I want to finish it. I didn't want to not finish.
Fair.
So gave him my helmet on that, and then when I went to leave, he's like, "Do you want your helmet back?" I was like, "Nah, not really."
No, thank you.
Wrong
time to ask someone, isn't it?
I was pretty broken at this point. So then I just did it with the BA set on all the way around. And
you're making that sound like just with, but that's still just ridiculous. That's the thing.
It was the heat, honestly. It wasn't the weight. The weight doesn't bother me. It was the heat. And I'm a sweaty bastard anyway. So
and was it hot in the actual which one did you do? Was it London?
It was London in the Olympia. It was hot. So, it was on day 2. I went in on the first day and there wasn't as many people, and I was like, this is all right. This will do. But then the doubles were on just before us.
And it heats
before
up
I went
then.
on. Oh yeah, it just got mega hot. So that's why there's that video of me after the lunges. There's an ex-firefighter guy there on our firefighter who was there on doing fire safety for the event.
Oh, really?
And I don't know where he got this water from, but he was waiting for me after the lunges, and he handed me these 2 cups of ice cold water.
Oh, legend.
I was like, oh. So full set came off. I was pouring it over my head. It was just immense, and it was actually that was taken in a full spaghetti bolognese. It was. I was full energy after that, just bringing my core temperature down. So it was the heat and not the weight. So when I got to the wall balls, I had to take the set off for that because I had an ongoing shoulder injury at the time. I just couldn't get that. I couldn't literally get my shoulder past there with the set on. Fair. So I had to take it off, and then just put it on for the the last little jaunt over the line. But yeah, it was great. I loved it. I loved the support was epic on the day.
Was it?
Yeah, it was so good. I do remember saying after it, I'll never ever do that again. But I would do it again now.
Yeah, it's like now it's calmed down. You've had a bit of time. You look back and
Yeah,
you think, oh,
you could definitely do it again. I mean, I was on another podcast, the Firefighter podcast with P, and we were talking about like potentially doing a relay in kit or something like that.
okay.
So yeah, there'll be more.
I mean, that would be quite good because you'd have to do like a station and a run, and then you'd have a second to like cool down,
Yeah,
and then you'd get it all
yeah.
back on again and go again.
I think you could get quite a good time on that. To be fair,
Yeah.
There's the guys that we're looking at doing it with as well. Like I say, Zach, he was one of the guys that did it the first time. He's he's just came first at the Apex Games this weekend in Birmingham. So
Oh, really?
he's like a machine.
Yeah.
And Pete's a big unit as well. So
Oh,
yeah, I think
cool.
that'll be so I think that'd be quite cool.
Something coming up for people to look out for.
Yeah, well, there's still logistics of it to start, but that's the kind of plan. We'll find one somewhere.
Yeah,
maybe with the one that's coming up today.
Oh, fair. I know. Yeah, there's an announcement, isn't there, today in a few hours? Maybe Manchester. A few people think
it's going to be Manchester. Yeah.
Are you doing Glasgow next year, or?
Yeah, I'll do Glasgow.
Yeah, you're saying you're moving out to Cyprus shortly.
Yeah.
So that's going to be good for the heat training.
It will be. Yeah, it will. It's going to be pretty. Well, they say when you go out to Cyprus, you put on a stone, don't they? The Aki stone, because of all the kebabs and beer that you have. So got to watch that first.
But you're an athlete. You're an athlete now, so.
Yeah, I know, but I still enjoy that.
Balance. It's all about balance.
Yeah. I've actually got three lined up. So I'm doing Birmingham, then I'm doing Dublin, then I'm doing London, like within 4 weeks. So I'm getting all my Hyroxes in early this year.
Okay.
Because I'm going out to there, and then I'll come back for Glasgow, and then that'll be me for the season, I think.
Okay, yeah, fair. And what are you looking at doing on these? Are you just racing them normally? Or are you doing doubles, pro, open? What are your?
I've got mixed doubles with a girl called Lottie in Birmingham, and then just 2 singles for Dublin and London. Going to Dublin with an eye on a PB because it's been well over a year since I've done one, so I was probably not the best race to do it at, given what the timings were like last year.
But I think they'll be all over Dublin. I think it'll be run so slick after that. I think sometimes it just like once the logistics.
They definitely learn from each event.
Exactly.
They definitely learn from each event. So, and even if they do, there's room there to do outside running, which I would be more than fine with.
Yeah.
So if they did that as well, that would open up a big amount of space for them.
Yeah, for sure.
And London. I don't know if a PB in Dublin, I might do something mental in London. And if I don't PB, then I'll just go for a PB.
Okay, so everyone's got to hope that you get a PB in Dublin, so we can see what the mental thing's going to be in London.
Yeah, I've got a few ideas, but
you're keeping them under wraps until until you get your PB.
Yeah.
Okay, fair. That's a fair shout. So what about highs and lows of your Hyrox journey? Have you had like what's been like the best race, the best moments? Have you had any lows like through training and through racing? Because you've done quite a few.
Yeah, I think the lows wise would definitely be training. When I was training in the Falcons, it was just pretty. I was in a bad place mentally. I was in a bad place physically. So that was a pretty depressing block of training, and it's not James's fault or anything like that. He was giving me good training. It was just the implementation of it was quite poor. That was definitely race wise. The low would be Birmingham, just because I messed it up. It was just a fuck up from start to finish on my kind of planning of it.
Yeah,
then
okay.
Highs wise, London in the fire kit's definitely going to be. That's probably the most satisfying one. But then it's probably not my best moment though. I'd say my best moment would be my client Sylvia, when she won in Poland. That was pretty epic.
Oh,
I wasn't even there to see it, and I was pretty suspicious that she had the potential to win it, or at least podium out there.
Yeah.
So I did look at flights and stuff, but then it just didn't work.
Yeah, it's quite hard sometimes, isn't it, to get to some of these races? They're not easy to access.
Yeah, it was hard to justify to my wife as well. It's like, I'm going to spend all this money to go to this race just to watch someone race.
Yeah, for sure.
She's like, what?
Yeah. But it's hard, isn't it? Because I think as coaches, especially when you spend so much time with someone and you want to like be there to shout, like to get them going and give them that support.
I definitely care more about their results than mine all day. And it was quite good as well. So I was watching. She's in the 45 to 50 category, or 40 to 44. I might be doing her over here, but I was watching. There wasn't too many within our category. There was only like 15 females within that age category. So when she'd finished and I'd seen her time, I was kind of looking at all the other people in the different waves, and I was like, "Nah, mate, you've won this. Like they cannot beat you now."
Yeah, where they were.
Where they are. And she's like, no, I don't think so. I'm like, mate, I'm looking at the data. It's like, you have won. Like, you've won. So that was pretty cool.
Oh, that's so good. And that's a good time now to talk about, like, to talk to us a bit about your coaching. So it's obviously, is it online or do you do stuff in person? I know you've been talking about the fact it's online. So when you move around, obviously with the Air Force, you're going to get posted to different places. So
I used to do quite a lot of one-to-one.
Yeah.
That was kind of where I started, and then moved across to online. I think all my clients are online now, bar one. And that kind of happened when I went out to the Falklands. I just said to everyone, "These are going online because I can't one-to-one this." And they were all kind of happy to stay online, and I was more than happy for all of them to stay online as well, because they didn't need that one-to-one. They wanted that one-to-one.
Yeah, people want it for the accountability and the like support, don't they? But
absolutely, but if they were all knowledgeable and confident enough that they didn't need the one-to-one. So I do offer it, but it's very, very kind of limited. Yeah, so all my clients are online, and it's like you say, because I move about so much, it doesn't affect anyone in any way. That's what I said to them in the group when I announced that I was going out to Cyprus. I was like, how will it affect you? I was like, I'll probably message you 3 hours earlier. That's about it.
Yeah, exactly. The time difference, or just that's it.
That is pretty much it. And that's pretty much 95% is all Hyrox now, which is great because it's what I love coaching, is what I feel most confident in coaching as well. And everyone's progressing, everyone's PBing, so it's obviously working.
Yeah, for sure, exactly. And some of your clients, do you go to the same races, or do you try and go to the same races, or?
Yeah, I do try, although it's tricky for everyone to try and get tickets and all that. But
exactly. Hopefully tickets now.
Hopefully this is why I signed up as an affiliate now, so that we've got that kind of covered. And we've got quite a few going down to Birmingham. And then a lot of them are hitting 50 this year, so they're going to go out to Stockholm and have a little 50th party out there, which is quite cool. That's just when I go to Cyprus, so I won't be able to go out with them, but that'll be pretty good. Loads that's going to Dublin as well, so there's a good chunk, and there's a lot of people that are kind of coming that are, because I do classes in Edinburgh as well, and a lot of them are coming to the same races, so it's good when you've got like a big tribe.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things with Hyrox, isn't it? There's a big community, but there's all these little communities everywhere where everyone's finding their like either local community or some people that have got like online support. You can find support there.
Yeah, it is good. One thing I actually really enjoy about the kind of Hyrox community as a whole, especially from the Scottish coaches anyway, is like there's no real ego between the coaches. We're all kind of helping each other out with different things here, there, and everywhere, going to each other's classes. Like I enjoy training at a Hyrox class, but I can't go to my own Hyrox class. So you're going to other people's classes and stuff, and it's there's just less ego, I find, than other events.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's quite humbling as well, isn't it? Like everyone, I don't know whether most people turn up to their first Hyrox and either they underestimate the running or they underestimate the format and how, you're like, oh, I can move that sled. Oh, I can carry those kettlebells. I can do that. But when actually you put everything together in that race situation, it is quite humbling when you do your first one and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I try and say that to everyone, but it's like, the first race will chew you up and it'll spit you out, and you'll be like, what just happened? I was so confident.
And then at the end, you're like buzzing for the next one, but
oddly. But I try, and I know like some some coaches aren't a big fan of this, but I'm a big advocate, especially for first timers, of very slowly building up the sims. So about 8 weeks out, I'll hit them with like a 50%, and I'll slowly build it up to 100% about 2 weeks out. And yeah, there might not be huge training benefits within that, but the mental benefits within it, especially for first timers, is awesome, because there's a lot of people who come into it and they actually are concerned if they're able to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
They are. There's no doubt that they are. But you know,
but you need the knowledge.
Not everyone's confident, so that's why I put these sims in, and then they come up like, oh, I can't believe I did it in this time. You know, it's still explain it to them that, you know, that time is just a time. It's not going to be the time you get on the day. You'll probably get slower on the day, but you'll finish it.
But you know in your head you can do it, yeah. And I think that like it's important as well. I guess the sport's so young to recognize there's no right or wrong way at the moment to coach anybody. Like there's different ways. And
there's new ways coming out all the time.
Yeah, and it's what works for different people as well. Like everyone can't be on the same. There isn't a one set training program for everybody that if you follow this is how you're going to PB. Everyone's coming in from such different backgrounds with such varied sporting, you know, like achievements or like experience that actually like some people need more running, some people need more strength, you know, some people need more lower body strength, some people need more endurance.
So some
you
people
just got to find what you need. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And some people, like you said, it's just the mental game. Maybe they have got it that they just don't believe they have, so they need somebody to show them.
So many people I've seen come to classes and they say, "Oh," I say, "Yeah, I've done the classes and stuff." I was like, "You've been doing them for 6 months. You not want to sign up for it? Don't think I'd be able to do it." I'm like, "You think you've been doing here?" Like, I would never put you forward for something
if you didn't think they could do it.
If I didn't think you could do it, and what I like was one of my clients, or a group of my clients did, which I still say this to people all the time now, is at the first Glasgow, they were the second last relay team to finish. And I was like, they didn't care though. Like, they finished.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if it took them 2 hours. Like, it was getting it done. It's like a marathon. It's like something you tick off. You don't go into a marathon thinking, am I going to win that race? Yeah. You go into a marathon to finish it.
Yeah. And I feel like that's really important, especially for people's first ever, like I think the first of anything you do, like the priority, like you said, even with your firefighter stuff on, is to finish the race. Like the priority should be to get across that finish line, not what your time is or what, you know, anybody else is doing. Just finish the race and
then assess from there.
And then you can decide what you want to do next, but at least you've finished it and you've gone across that. You've got across that line.
It's amazing how many people finish their first one though and then immediately sign up for another one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it is. To be honest, it's very rare, I feel, and I don't think we've really met that many people. I mean, I'd love to, if you're listening to this and you are one of those people, reach out to us that have done a Hyrox, finished and gone never again. I don't know. I mean, I think everyone says it, but they still sign up for the next one, or they still think. But like, I've not met anyone that's gone, that is horrendous, I'm never doing it again. I think it gets.
That is it though. People do say it. They go, never again, never again.
But they sign up.
Yeah, like some sort of bad hangover.
Never
drinking again.
Yeah, it is literally that.
And then the pub by 2.
Yeah, the next day they're like, oh, actually, I think I could probably go faster on that sled. So as a PT then, and doing what you've done, like physically at Hyrox's with, you know, making it harder for yourself. What are your 3 top tips for anybody that's starting out about to race Hyrox, or maybe they want to go for a PB, or maybe they're thinking of doing something different, like you know, testing themselves by, you know,
but I'd say if you're
starting,
if you were starting, like if you're starting from like a very basic, like never really done a fitness event before, like running is your friend. A lot of people, I think, they look at the race and then they look at the stations and the elements of the race. And especially first timers, they'll want to prioritize them and they'll want to just do them for 6 months, which is not going to be, well, you will improve on these little things, but it's not the best way to improve, in my opinion. So running is your friend, and it doesn't have to be boring either. You have to go in for a run for an hour, but it doesn't mean that you can't have 15 minutes within that where you push the pace and then go back to zone 2. If you like that kind of, if you're like me, and you find zone 2 running very boring and you want to push yourself, you know, little intervals within that aren't going to affect that zone 2 build too much. If you're going for PB, I would say play around with your race weight. It's quite a popular topic at the minute, but going in too heavy or too light, either one can have a detrimental effect.
So you mean your physical weight? Sorry, you're talking about
your physical, your physical weight. Like I know a few different people now that have went in too light, and then it's really, really affected them on things like the lunges and the sleds, mainly the sleds, but the lunges as well. But equally,
like just from the world champs with Hunter saying that he thinks he got too light. That's, I mean,
you've seen the photos that he posted, and I'd agree. What was I saying there? It's completely lost me.
Oh, sorry, I've just interrupted you.
No, it's okay.
You were saying about race weight and being like too heavy or too light, and then if you're going for a PB, just have a think about it.
Yeah, and so someone like me, like I sit quite naturally heavier. I'm a heavy set person, and if I even drop half a kilo, I feel that in every kilometre. For someone that really wants to improve, it's definitely something to kind of nail down that nutrition and look at. And yeah, one thing I have to tell people all the time is not every race can be a PB.
Yeah, for sure. And people do get like caught up in that, don't they? Like thinking, okay, next one, I've got to go faster, and I've got to go faster, I've got to go faster.
It just doesn't happen that way. Like the peaks and troughs of training. So many. I know Hyrox do a very, very good job of trying to make every race as the same as possible, but they can't control the humidity, can't control the temperature. You can't control how noisy the person is next door to you in a hotel. Like
or how many people are on the track at the same time. Sometimes you're running between more people, aren't you? Like
there's loads of different factors within it, and I've seen people get really pissy when they don't get a PB in it. You've got to literally pull out those, like, you might not have got a PB, but look, you PB'd on your burpees or XYZ. So they would be my tips anyway. Oh, and go heavy on the sleds. Always train heavier on the sleds. Always.
Perfect. Yeah, and I think actually the sleds as well, for people that have never done one, I know, like even I felt the same, like, can I even push the sled? I don't know. Like it's that kind of, you want that like mental gain of knowing you can move that sled. So if you go heavier and you know you can pull and push heavier on the sleds, then when you get to them, even on that day, if people are like, oh, the carpet, I mean, there's always chat about the sleds and the carpet, isn't there?
Yeah.
But if you train heavier, at least you've got that knowledge that you know you can move more than what you're expected to on the day.
I mean, it is, you can replicate the carpets by just putting a 20 plate in front of the sled, and like so rough. You can you just put it in front of the sled, and you'll get that resistance that you get on the carpets. And the more you train like that, the more you'll adapt to it. I mean, I remember I've been doing that now for about a year, putting a 20 plate in front of the sled, and the sleds feel easy now compared to the sled was probably my worst station.
Okay.
I wouldn't say they're my best station yet by a long way, but they feel easy.
But you've improved, exactly. And because they're at the first half of the race as well, just like if you can get those nailed, so then you can have an easier back end of the race.
Yeah,
you're not worried about it.
Absolutely.
So then, moving on then to physical or mental, because we've touched on it. Like, what do you think? Like, you obviously talk a lot about the mental game, and especially with like people that have never done a Hyrox before, and then doing what you've done, like, and making a Hyrox harder, that obviously the mental game is going to come into it hugely as well as the physical. What do you think like the breakdown is, and do you have any tips for people on like mental gains and how to control a mental game in a Hyrox?
I mean, the mental game in a Hyrox, it depends what sort of race you're running, I suppose, but with someone that's wanting to race competitively, is having that knowing your plan for each station and sticking to it. It's so easy to bolt out the gate. So many people do it, don't they? Just bolt out the gate and they forget everything that you've ever spoke to them about over the past 2 weeks. You're like, I didn't tell you to run that fast on the first kilometre. Why have you done that?
They've just gone.
And you're like, oh well.
You get caught up with the countdown and music, and then everyone goes, and then you don't want to get left behind.
People jumping around you and stuff. Just calm it down. I think when you're kind of in a hole, it's hard to train for that unless you're doing some really, really honking workouts beforehand. or if you've not put yourself in kind of dark places before. I've got the benefit of being put in dark places before, so it's kind of hard for me to give advice on that because it was done for me.
Yeah, okay, I've got you. But where do you go to if you were in a race and you're having a hard time? Like, you must have got to a point where you're like, oh man, in one of your races where you want to quit.
Yeah.
What do you do? How do you get out of it? What do you do do you just look at the next station? Do you just break it down?
No,
or
I
what
always
do you
think about for example, the end of or middle of the lunges on that London for the fire kit on, that was easily the most I ever wanted to quit. And if anyone's seen me in that, most of the station was just me with my hands against the railing.
Oh, really?
In an absolute hole. And at that point I was just thinking, like, the end goal. You've people have donated, you've got to do it. You've got to do it, end goal. And with, like I said before, the mental aspect of first timers, that's why I utilise the sims as much as I possibly can to try and build their confidence within that. I think the mental aspect of Hyrox is far harder to train for than the physical bit. The physical bit is easy. There's loads more out there on how to train physically for Hyrox, but mentally, you just got to put yourself in the dark places. It's quite hard to do. It's quite hard to put yourself in a dark place. This is why you need to come to someone like me, a coach.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'll put you in a dark place.
Yeah. Go. You're struggling mentally at Hyrox. Go find Andy, and he'll help you. And then the Hyrox will be a breeze. No, fair. It is true though. You're like, I think a lot of the time whenever I race, like, I always think to something else I've done that's been harder. Or like, we did a session this morning, a run session, and I was like 10 minutes out and it was getting pretty hard for the last 10 minutes. And I was like, okay, if you don't do this now, you got to do it again tomorrow. So you might as well just do it now because you only got 10 minutes.
Oh, that's good.
So in my head, I like tell myself, if I don't do it today, I've got to do it again tomorrow. And then it makes me do it. And I'm like, well, I obviously can do it. I just wanted to stop.
Yeah, you want to stop. Yeah. Oh, your brain lets you down well before your body does.
For sure, I know. It's just finding those little things to try and get you through it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh man, awesome. So should we move on to the cheeky insights? We've got 8 questions that we like to ask everyone that give like just a bit of an insight as to what you think of like your Hyrox and what you do in your Hyrox and how you equip yourself. The first one, which like obviously aren't going to be the steel toe cap boots, but what shoes do you race your Hyrox in?
So I'm on the blue and pinks, the Puma DV8 Nitros 2s, Elites, whatever it is. Not the Nitros, sorry, the DV8 Elite, whatever it is, the carbon plated ones.
Is that the one? Yeah, the ones that one's blue and one's pink. They're like 2 different colours. That's such a cool idea.
I know, but you'd be amazed at how many people, the classic, you've got the 2 different shoes on, mate.
Yeah.
But I've just moved over to the Adidas, what are they, Adidas Zeros or something like that. I can't remember what they're called, but the new carbon Adios things, that's it.
Yeah.
I just done the half marathon in Name. I think it was like the 2nd time wearing them, no blisters, anything like that. So they're pretty good.
Yeah, I think we got a pair the other day, actually, like a couple of weeks ago. One of our friends is an athlete for Adidas, and he was like, I'll try these out. And they are so comfy, aren't they?
Yeah. Really wide as well. So I'm quite a wide
really
person.
And light. They're so light.
Yeah.
Okay, this will be a good one because you've done quite a few Hyroxes. What's your favourite Hyrox venue?
Oh, Manchester.
Manchester. Because of the course or because of the like?
Just because of the venue itself. Obviously, don't get me wrong, I love Glasgow because that's my home one. But as like a venue, it's just really picturesque inside. Like, I can't remember who said it. Yeah, I can't remember who said it, but if you were to get photos of all the Hyroxes, all the Hyroxes in the world, there's like a London Olympia and Manchester are probably the only 2 that you could pick out as the actual events because all of them are just conference centres normally, aren't they?
Yeah, fair. And those 2 are quite like, they're old school, aren't they? They're like, I think it was in Manchester, an old train station or something called old. It's amazing with the light, isn't it? The windows.
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah, no, fair. I'm with you on that. Okay, how about Hyrox Station? What's your favourite station and why?
Favourite station is Sled Pull, just because I seem to be strong in it. Not like time wise or anything, but if I'm absolutely hanging and and everyone shot off before me. Normally, this is what happens. Everyone shoots off ahead of me in the wave.
Yeah.
It's like I'm always in my mind. I'm like, I'll see you at the sled pull.
Fair.
And yeah, I tend to do quite well within that. I don't know why it is. Probably just because of
Because you put a
deadlifted.
20-kilogram plate in front of it, and you did your strongman.
Because I deadlifted for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do enjoy that one. It's a good one to get a good bit of aggression out of, and sorry, a good bit of aggression out in as well.
And then how do you find the run after the sled pull? You fine, like after the sled?
Fine.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you
the
probably don't
the
use
push
as
is a
much
wash.
energy.
The push is a wash, but the sled pull's fine. I mean, it might be because it's quite close to pulling hoses along a fire ground as well.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
So functional. And if you do that back and forward in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
No one else has done that, have they? It's not many people have tried. Everyone's going to start doing that now, training with fire hoses. If you could do a Hyrox doubles with anyone in the world, like dead, alive, famous, not famous, who would it be?
Billy Connolly, just for a laugh.
Billy Connolly, yeah, fair.
Yeah. How much fun would you
Glasgow.
have on that?
Yeah.
At Glasgow. Yeah.
That would be good. I feel like it would be so good.
I wouldn't even let him do any of the work. I would just do all the work.
Just let him just come along and just chat to you, tell
just
jokes.
Walk around and have a chat. Yeah.
Keep the morale up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you we haven't really touched on fueling actually. Do you fuel like during a Hyrox race? Do you fuel? Do you take anything?
Yeah, and I always put a couple of gels in. I used to use SIS, but I can't even remember the brand of who someone gave me recently. I used them for the half marathon just then as well. The little white sachet with the red and blue bits on it. Anyway,
okay, I'm not sure.
Not sure what brand it is, but they're really good. Yeah, I tend to fuel just after the roar. Just for that little extra. But I've got quite a good tell when my body's getting a bit tired of or running out of energy. It's like I get quite good goosebumps all down my arms.
Oh, really?
So that tends, So that tends to be at the roar. So that's when I'll chuck like 2 gels down, and then I'm fine after that.
And then you buzz in. What about before? Do you do like the same thing for? Do you eat the same thing usually before you go? Like, do you marathon?
No, because I'm normally at a hotel, so I normally just eat whatever the breakfast is.
Okay, yeah, you're not fussy. You just like get some carbs in and
just
hydrate.
Either. Sometimes I'll have a bacon roll. Doesn't like
fair.
My body generally isn't that fussy about what I eat. Beforehand, I'm a good at least a full Red Bull about an hour beforehand, and then I'm normally about 400 milligrams of caffeine in the shots before I go as well. Because I'm quite, well, as I'm sitting here with my monster, I'm quite caffeine insensitive. So yeah, like if I'm going out for a race, I like to have a big hit.
Yeah, before you hit it and go. And do you have caffeine in your gels, or are they just?
I used to. So the SIS ones, they had caffeine in them. But the new ones they don't.
No.
But yeah, if they had caffeine ones, I would definitely use it.
You'd hit them up.
Caffeine's the best pre-workout in the world.
Yeah, well, you've obviously got a strong stomach if you can just eat. Well, like some people have to stick specifically to what they need to eat, don't they? But
it's
good. No, it's good to be able to fuel on anything and just be able to get out of it what you can. Definitely. Okay, this will be interesting. What's your favorite training session for Hyrox?
Oh, it's awful. So
I thought it might be a black hole type session.
Yeah, but I love it. It's 50-meter sled push. So if I was doing it in JD in Edinburgh, it would only be about 170 on the sled and then a 20-kilo plate in front.
Okay.
So 50 meters of that, and then it'll start on like 400 meters, and I'll probably do. Well, sometimes I do a 40-minute AMRAP off it, and sometimes I'll do like so many rounds of it.
Okay.
And then I'll build it up to a kilometer the closer I get to the races. So yeah, it gets pretty honking. But yeah, it's good. It's just good aggression, good build up of lactic in the legs, and yeah, if you want to be able to run fatigued, that is by far the best session in the world for me.
So you just do like sled push run, sled push run, like those two together.
Just repeat. Yeah, I know a lot of people for compromise like to use things like burpees and all that, but if you're wanting to run compromise within, as in your legs are fucked and still be able to run, then sled push is what you want. Just keep repeating that. Oh,
for sure. And then learn it, teaching your body to like get rid of that lactic and being able to get running again.
Yeah, I remember when I first done it, it took me about 500 meters to really clear the legs.
Okay.
and I think now it's like 150, 200. So
Yeah,
it
that's
definitely works.
that's a
A big
mega
difference.
change, isn't it? Yeah, huge difference. If you just
Yeah.
think even just of a course, that's like the difference between like quarter to half a lap and a whole lap, isn't it? Of being able to
Yeah.
just then get going. Yeah,
Yeah.
fair. That's an awesome session. So why should somebody sign up for their first Hyrox? If you had someone come up, or what about these clients that say they're not ready, and how do you get them to sign up to their first Hyrox?
Your first Hyrox, in my opinion, you've just got to do it. Like, you, there's you're either going to do it or you're not going to do it, right? Everyone, I think, is able to complete a Hyrox. You could walk, as
Yeah,
long as you can do a burpee broad jump and you can do a wall ball and like the technical elements of it, you could walk a Hyrox and finish it.
yeah,
So it is achievable by what, 70% of the UK population probably. Um, so yeah, if you can, like I say, if you can move, you can do it. You might,
there you go.
yeah.
Tagline.
I mean, you look at people like is it Tyler Saunders? Is it Tyler Saunders his name?
Yeah,
The lad
yeah.
one, like he's smashing
Inspirational,
them.
isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
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 one
he's
leg and
smashing
just
it. Yeah, I can't remember the other guy. He won the most inspirational athlete of the year at the Worlds. Guy that had he was paralysed, wasn't he?
oh yeah, and he did. He was at Olympia as well, I think, but I can't
Yeah, yeah,
remember
he
what
was
his
at
name.
Olympia. Yeah, I met him at
Yeah,
Olympia. Yeah,
I can't
can't
remember
remember
his
his name.
name. Have to.
But
I'll have to
like
find out.
I look, I would just show them these people and like, what's your excuse?
Yeah, yeah,
Like, yeah, these people are doing it.
yeah,
But yeah, it's for me the most enjoyable fitness event that you will do.
yeah, for
It's
sure.
more
And
it's more fun than a half marathon. So
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. And I think it is because it has so many different elements to it, and you can break it down, you can chunk it down. Like, you don't have to think, oh, in a half marathon, you are thinking, oh God, I've still got 10 miles to go or something.
yeah,
You're like, okay, just get this K done and then I'm on to the sled push or something. You can break it down a lot easier
yeah,
in a Hyrox. And then, like you said, there's an inspirational community. Like, there's just people from everywhere and like from every age group, and
yeah.
everyone's
Badass
given it
Granny. Yeah,
yeah,
she
she's such a
smashes it
legend,
out.
isn't
Yeah,
she?
yeah,
Like, yeah, what's the excuse? Just give it a go. Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
Perfect. And then finally, what is there anyone you would like to see like on our podcast, like a type of person, a specific person, an area that you would like us to, find out more about? Is there
Um,
any?
the one person I'd like to listen to on a podcast, and he's probably done one. He will have done one, but I've just not seen it yet.
Yeah.
Is Alex Ronkovich's coach,
Oh, his
Tiago.
coach.
Tiago, is it Lusa or something like that?
Oh,
Spelled
I don't know.
Lousa. But I remember watching. There's a reel of him. It's on Alex Ronkovich's. It's pinned on his Instagram.
Okay.
There's a video or a reel of him. His reaction when he overtakes stand back on the wall balls
Oh yeah.
and
Okay.
then runs over the line, and I could watch that video every day. I love it, and I just like as like a coach to coach, so it's like knowing that what that feeling must have been like to
To
see him
watch
go
your
and
athlete take, yeah.
to go and win the world championship. So yeah, just kind of I'd like to. I definitely want to know more about that.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. And I love listening to coaches talk sometimes like from a different aspect than an athlete, and them following their athletes, like because
Yeah,
you do go through the highs and the lows with like somebody that's racing, don't you? And you've obviously
yeah,
seen how hard they've worked and for how long, and the early mornings, and a lot of people don't really know or care too much about the training and the effort that people are putting before they just look at that race, don't they, I guess.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
um
I've got quite a good story about that. So remember Sylvia, I was telling you, who won in Poland.
yeah,
So like a few weeks later, she raced in Glasgow, and we kind of knew like Glasgow standard's going to be pretty high.
yeah.
Um, but Henry, she put in an awesome effort, and I was watching her on the sled pull, and I'm like, yeah, she's doing all right here. She think she was second in her
The wave.
in her wave, and then she was doing her third one, and then she was like looking about as where to go, and I was like, one more, one more, one more, and she's like, yeah, and they just ran across and ran out and ran like anything. Right, and then the judges, because there's loads of people coming in, the judges were all down the far end. No one seen this. Like completely missed it, and I'm like, oh well, that's her race fucked. Um,
Oh,
and and so yeah, she got to the end, and then she got like know, 108 or something like that. And she was like, Andy, 108 crying. And I was like, yeah, but you never got 108, mate.
Oh, gutted. And then, but I mean, I struggle in like Hyrox to like, I think some people are so much better at like counting laps and like being aware of where they go. I remember the first one I did, I just couldn't even find the exit or the entrance to anywhere I was
Yeah,
going. I was like running around like a headless chicken. I must have done so
yeah.
many more kilometers. So I just kept going to the wrong place.
It's
Um,
amazing how easy you can do it. I remember I
you
was
just
being
get into
cocky.
this zone, don't you?
I was talking about it to my wife, and she was like, "How do you remember that thing? How do you remember where to go?" And I was like, It's like I'm a tactical athlete, so I'm quite good at remembering what processes to do when I'm tired and things like that. Being
Yeah.
quite cocky, and then on the second lap of Birmingham, went out the wrong thing,
Yeah.
like fully. Like,
Oh man. I know, it's so annoying, isn't it? I had a standing like argument with them at Olympia because I was like, oh, it's 3 and we're in, we're 3 and we're in. And I thought we'd done 3, so I started to go in, and Em's like, no, don't go in. And I'm like, I thought we were going in. And we like literally stopped and had this argument until I looked over and I was like, oh, no one's in. And I was like, there was definitely 2 girls ahead of us. So we were
yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
shit, we've got another lap. I was like, and then I felt really bad because I'd stopped us by about, it felt like 5 minutes, but it was probably only 30
yeah.
seconds having this whole conversation about going in or not going in.
You know the best thing about that Olympia one was when you were on the last lap and it was only like 1.5.
Mm.
And I remember reading that and I was like, oh yes, get in.
And then you get in straight into the wall balls. Except for then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
doubt yourself again because then you're like,
Oh yeah. It's like,
oh,
am I in
hang on,
here?
it's shorter, isn't it? But should I go in? I don't know whether I should
Yeah,
go in.
yeah.
Like,
It's like quite a lot shorter as well.
yeah, it messes with your head because you're so close to the end, but you don't want to mess it up when you're at the
Oh
end. So
yeah.
you're like, but then
It's
that's
easy
another
done.
part of the racing, isn't it? It's
It
actually
is.
like if you can just get that nailed, you're in a much better place than if you start like questioning yourself. And
Yeah. Read the technical briefings.
yeah,
Read
for
them.
sure. Oh man, well, Andy, it's been an absolute pleasure. Have you got anything else you want to add, or anything
Uh,
I've
yeah,
not
just
touched on?
if anyone's no, it's just if anyone's interested in coaching, I do offer 3 weeks of free Hyrox coaching. It's just like a kind of little taster as such. So if anyone's interested, go to my Instagram, Alpha 13 Fitness. In the link there, you'll find a wee application form. And then I'll get a little notification saying you want to try it, and we'll get you set up.
Perfect. So Alpha 13 Fitness. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll link it in the notes anyway so people
awesome.
can find you. And yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. So I'm
Yeah, it's been
guessing,
good.
are you chilling now for the rest of the day? Do you sleep or you
I've
just
got no, I've got 2 sessions lined up. I've got a strength session and a 12K. Neither really I can be bothered doing either. So
oh,
it's gonna be a long day.
long day, but
Yeah,
feel well in between and you'll be all good.
we'll get there. We'll
Yeah,
get there.
you'll get there. Well, thank you very much for your time. But everyone listening, hopefully you've enjoyed this podcast. Please share it. If you enjoyed it, share it with your friends, put it on your stories, tag Andy in it. Go and follow him over at Alpha 13 Fitness. And hit us up if you've got any ideas for podcast guests or you'd like to be on the podcast yourself. And we will see you in the next episode.